112 years ago, the UP Board of Regents had a vision to develop their true firstborn college that will spearhead national development through agriculture. At the foot of Mount Makiling, Edwin B. Copeland, together with 7 faculty and 12 students, embarked on the journey to create the UP College of Agriculture, or UPCA. Through its 112 years of existence, the college has produced over 1,000 technologies and variety of plants and animals, 9 national scientists, over 30 outstanding young scientists, and more than 18,000 graduates contributing to agricultural development. UPCA, now College of Agriculture and Food Science, or CAFS, has been continuously contributing to nation building through its instruction, research, and extension function. A mere 10 years after establishment, the college was able to start breeding works with the production of sugarcane varieties with high productivity and resistance to Fiji and mosaic disease. In the 1920s, the importance of agriculture was intensified and UPCA was recognized as neighboring countries began sending their students to Los Baños because of the high quality of education. In the 1930s, breeds with superior characteristics such as the Burkhala pig, Los Baños Cantonese chicken, and Philippine cattle were developed. The 1960s was a fruitful decade for research. Makapuno, a coconut cultivar often made into a dessert, was pioneered and perfected. Meanwhile, the Dairy Training and Research Institute was the first in the country to freeze buffalo semen, paving the way for artificial insemination of local carabaos. Along with the establishment of UPLB in the 70s, the college received the prestigious Ramon Magsaysay Award for International Understanding, Asia's counterpart for the Nobel Peace Prize. In the same decade, the C4 plants were developed. The soil test kits were produced in support of the Masagana 99 program, and the mango induction technique was introduced. Continuing the production of quality research outputs in the 1980s, techniques to minimize post-harvest losses, the accelerated fish sauce manufacturing process, and the rapid test kit for the detection of pesticide residue on vegetables were developed. The 1990s saw many new varieties across species or crop types, including Sinta papaya, the first Philippine-bred hybrid, UPLB Gold, a durian variety, and Doña Amelita, a musaenda named after the wife of former President Fidel Ramos. The award-winning National Corn-Based Farmer Scientist RDE Training Program, or FSTP, was also established around this time and still remains as one of the university's primary extension programs. In the field of instruction, the book titled Integrating Sustainable Agriculture in the BSA Curriculum, the UPLB College of Agriculture Experience, was published in 1999. At present, the College of Agriculture and Food Science, or CAFS, continues to be the premier institution of higher learning in agriculture and food science, and remains committed to nation building through its instruction, research, and extension programs. In order to produce the best graduates, all of our courses are outcomes-based education, and continuous improvement of the curriculum is being practiced to meet the challenges of the 21st century. As testament of excellence, CAFS is constantly recognized by different organizations. In research, we continue to implement relevant studies with focus on the 12 priority commodities to address food security. Moreover, technologies are constantly developed to aid in responsible food production. Supplementing these are extension activities to disseminate the knowledge generated to improve food productivity and livelihood of the people. We believe that present technologies will future-proof our food systems. Some of our notable developments are iDetect, Caraginab, Plant Health and Pest Clinic, Pest Management Tools and Techniques, Smarter Pest Identification Technology or SPID-Tech, Snap Hydroponics, Drone Technology, Rapid Immunofilter Assay for Virus Indexing, Nanofertilizers Fertigrow, Hormogrow, Nanobiosensors, Biochar. We at the College of Agriculture and Food Science will continue to promote and nurture a culture with innovative yet conscientious minds and cutting-edge skills to lead and serve the country and the region. We are one college with one goal towards sustainable food systems.
Good morning, everyone, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and welcome to the sixth and final episode of the Agri-Talk 6.0, featuring the viewpoints of forerunners, future of agriculture and food systems. And so we are live via Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. Again, this is the finale episode of Agri-Talk version 6.0. This is all about viewpoints of the forerunners, future of agriculture and food systems. I am your host. My name is Ella Reynosa from the Agricultural Systems Institute. And once again, welcome to Agri-Talk. This is part of the Agriculture in the New Normal, a series of web fresher courses brought to you by the College of Agriculture and Food Science here in UP Los Baños. This morning is all about grit and passion in extension service by none other than our featured agriculture front runner for this morning, Dr. Rex L. Navarro. But before we introduce him, first and foremost, let us jumpstart the morning with a few opening messages from the Dean of the College of Agriculture and Food Science, Dr. Elpidio M. Agbisit Jr. Good morning to you, Dean.
Hi, good morning, Ella. Good morning to everyone. No? So, of course, this is the last speaker for our webinar series, Viewpoints of the Forerunners in Future of Agriculture and Food System. He may be the last, but I think he's the most important speaker for our webinar because we have to really extend our what we have. We have what we know and what we are planning to share. And this is a very, very important topic in terms of sharing our knowledge and learnings to our fellow Filipinos. No? So, of course, I like to greet our speaker, Dr. Rex L. Navarro, the director of ASI, Dr. Virgilio Villancio, and the men and women of the College of Agriculture and Food Science, our guests. I saw my friend a while ago, Dr. Davide, sir. Good morning po. And of course, the rest of our participants for this webinar. I hope that we learn a lot from this webinar. We hope that we can share all our learnings with our fellow Filipino people so that we can extend the betterment of agriculture for our country. Okay, I won't hold all of you in a long time. Let's listen and get some learnings from our speaker this morning. Good morning, everyone, and hope everyone is safe and healthy. Ella?
Thank you very much, Dean. All right, since nandito na po kayo, can we ask po for a quick photo op with you and our panelists for this morning? So everyone, let us please open our cameras just for a quick photo op. Ayan, so we have our speaker with us, our set of panelists. Ready na po ba tayo for our photo op? Ayan, so please open our cameras and show your biggest smiles on this fine Tuesday morning. Okay, open na po ba ang ating cameras? All right, ready? In 3, 2, 1, smile. All right, one more po. Show us your best smiles in 3, 2, 1, smile. All right, thank you very much po. And again, ayan na po ulit si Ma'am Adele, isa pa po, sorry. Ma'am, pa-open po ulit ng camera, please. All right, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, kompleto po ang class picture for this morning. Thank you very much again, Dean. And once again, good morning po sa ating lahat. And first and foremost, thank you din po sa pagpunta sa ating finale episode ng Season 6 of APTv.6 5.0. Now, let me introduce naman our featured agriculture frontrunner for this morning. He is an international expert on agricultural extension, development, communication, social marketing, social mobilization, knowledge sharing and management, development administration, rural development, and strategic planning. Trained at the Tulane University in New Orleans, USA, he holds Bachelor of Science and Master of Science degrees in Development Communication from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and a doctorate in Public Administration from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Currently, he is engaged as a research, development, and extension consultant of the Pacific Rim Innovation and Management Exponents, Incorporated, or PRIMEX, in formulating a feasibility studies on the World Bank assisted Philippine Fisheries and Coastal Resilience Project. He is also a public participation and communication specialist of the Sustainable Urban and Tourism Infrastructure Development Project of the National Economic and Development Authority. Included among his affiliations are the following: the Technical Working Group on Province-led Agriculture and Fisheries Extension Systems, and the Joint DA-ERIE Task Force of the Philippine Department of Agriculture, where he is a member. Next is the Philippine Rice Research Institute, or PhilRice, where he serves as an extension and strategic communication consultant. He's also the director of the Philippine Agriculture Journalists Incorporated, a member of the Board of Trustees of the Philippine Agriculture Research Foundation, and as well as the UPLB College of Agriculture and Food Science Alumni Association. Our frontrunner also serves as the advisor of the Philippine Federation of Rural Broadcasters and a member of both the Coalition for Agricultural Modernization of the Philippines, or CAMP, and Asia Rice Foundation. He was a consultant of the CGIAR research program on climate change, agriculture, and food security for Southeast Asia, hosted by the International Rice Research Institute here in the Philippines. In addition to his decorated affiliations, our speaker was a former regent of the Cagayan State University and executive director of Asia Rice Foundation. He also served as a director of strategic marketing and communication at the International Crop Research Institute for Semi-Arid Tropics, or ICRISAT, based in Hyderabad, India. During his time in ICRISAT, he was also a special assistant to the Director General and the head of its donor relations unit. Also, he was the head of ICRISAT's Information Resource Management and Knowledge Sharing and Innovations Group, which provides leadership in knowledge sharing and management, capacity building, distance learning, and global networking among its many functions. He has also held key positions in various local institutions, such as being the director of the Agricultural Training Institute. He also served as a director of the Institute of Development and Communication here in UP Los Baños, a program leader and department manager for technology transfer at the Philippine Rice Research Institute, head of Communication and Documentation Department of the Cotton Research and Development Institute, Extension Information Coordinator at the Planters Products Incorporated, and the Information Editor for the Institute of Plant Breeding here in UP Los Baños. And last but not the least, He was a consultant for various international organizations as well and worked in several countries and regions of the world. Among these are in Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos PDR, Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam here in Southeast Asia, India and Bangladesh representing South Asia, Fiji and Papua New Guinea in the South Pacific, Kenya in Eastern Africa, Malawi, Mozambique, and Tanzania in Southern Africa, and Niger and Mali in West Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, let us please welcome with a warm virtual applause our agricultural frontrunner who will tell us all about the grit and passion in extension service. Please welcome Dr. Rex L. Navarro. Good morning to you, Dr. Navarro.
Okay, good morning. Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. I'm really very much privileged and a million thanks to the College of Agriculture and Food Systems. May nakadugsong na pala. When we graduated, the College of Agriculture lang. And to my kababayan din it's a visit. For the information of participants, din nag-visit and myself, our roots are from the same province in Cagayan. And, you know, his father was one of my professors teaching cooperatives. And I really remember those very happy moments that we had with LPG Visit Senior. So let me share my screen. I hope you see it now.
Yes, sir.
Very good, thank you. And I really like this topic. This topic was, of course, given by the College of Agriculture, Grit and Passion in Extension Service, because this is the thread that cuts across my presentation. And I'm again very much privileged to be considered as one of the forerunners of the future of agriculture and food systems in our country. So let me start my presentation. This will have 5 parts. The first one will be, we are going to discuss the contemporary global and local environment of agriculture and fisheries extension. This is where we could see the context of this presentation. The second part will be our passion, the province-led agriculture and fisheries extension systems, or PAFES for short. And of course, how are we going? How are we pursuing this passion? We are going to share with you our experiences in piloting this in the province of Ilocos Norte. The fourth part will be the challenges. This is really a big challenge. And in fact, I really challenge the College of Agriculture. We have plenty of technologies, but how to scale this is really a big challenge. We'll discuss that. And lastly, we'll have, a success formula for province-led extension that will summarize all the other 4 components that we will discuss. Let me first discuss what's really happening right now in the world. We are now undergoing the 4th industrial revolution, and I'm sure many of you have heard about this. And this revolution is really drastic because it's now trying to converge the physical, digital, and biological spheres. No? So, kunyari, you're now hearing, and in fact, we are now experiencing the contribution of artificial intelligence through robotics. Of course, the Internet of Things, you have heard about this, I'll discuss that later on. Biotechnology, we're very much into this. Nanotechnology, the College of Agriculture now has developed, I think, even a nanofertilizer. I saw that in the video. Autonomous vehicles, there are now prototypes of vehicles that are talking with each other through internet connectivity. 3D printing, we are not only printing 1 dimension, we are now printing 3 dimensions. And of course, this revolutionary breakthrough in computers, which is quantum computing. So this is now the big environment where agricultural, not only extension, but research and even instruction is really working, especially in this age of the pandemic, because we are using distance learning. I'm sure you also have heard about the Internet of Things. And about 3 years ago, there were about 9 billion devices connected. This is, just a matter of connecting devices, because the internet connected people, but now even devices like in our homes, the home of Bill Gates is just like this, no? His coffee maker, his laundry, toaster, everything is connected to a central server, and he can even time, all these things are working autonomously, and he operates it from a single button. And this is going to really influence our work, especially in agriculture and extension. So this is the future of agriculture, and Agriculture 4.0 is now a theme. And in fact, we are trying to advocate this at the Philippine Rice Research Institute. And in fact, the Philippine research system should be doing this also. And I'm really very happy, by the way, I acknowledge there are state universities and colleges that are with us. This is now the future of agriculture. So you look at this, tingnan ninyo, no? There's only one guy in this farm. This may be just about 5 acres, no? But take note, he is operating that from his house. So his cows, nag-detect sa kanya yung mga baka niya. Tingnan nyo, there are no non-Filipinos in this group, so I'll use from time to time Tagalog or even Ilocano. No? So nag-detect yung kanya mga baka, sabi ng baka niya, maggatasan muna ako, o may sakit ako. And that those sensors immediately send the data to his computer. No? Take note, even in his field, there are agribots, and in terms of fertilizer application, harvesting, all those things that were done by people, they are now being done by agribots. And in terms of reconnaissance, trying to really survey the farm, he has drones, and these drones gives the data, agronomic and all this physical data from the farm and feeds it into his computer, And yes, in terms of land preparation, there are sensors already in his tractor, so he can guide the tractor. This is really precision agriculture because that tractor does precise land preparation. So what I'm saying is, this is the future of agriculture. Malayo pa tayo dito, but if you speak about the future, this is it. And this is now being practiced in more developed countries, like in the US. So hindi na drawing ito, no? And in fact, all this data into that computer is, as I've said, let me emphasize, it's just by one person here. And especially now with the lack of labor in the countryside, I have a farm in Cagayan. This is really going to be a big breakthrough whenever it will come to the country in full blast. So this is how agriculture looks right now globally. Agriculture is globalized. That is why that last thing about competitiveness, we want our farmers to compete because the markets of agricultural products are not only local markets, the markets are now global. And so we really have to be competitive. And yes, for us to be competitive, we have to mechanize our farms. And one thing, there's a component of what we call the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Program Fund that is now trying to mechanize at least the rice farms. But I think we have a long way to go because we really also challenge the engineers to fabricate locally made farm implements. Dapat hindi na tayo import ng import, no? Katulad ng ating pagkain. And when I say informatized, information technology, that fourth industrial revolution, digital technologies are now being deployed in agriculture in more advanced countries. And yes, climate change, you see that everywhere in the media, and we are experiencing it, floods, fires, drought, they are everywhere. And that is because of climate change. And I think diversification is one of the passions also of the Coalition for Agricultural Modernization, because with our small farms, we really have to diversify our crops and our products in the farm so that we have more income. So this is how agriculture now looks throughout the world, and hopefully, gradually, we are going to operationalize this by modernizing Philippine agriculture. Take note that the public sector, the government, is no longer the biggest players in global agriculture. No, this is the private sector. You take a look. Cargill has more than $100 billion revenue as of 2020. You see, and the top players, ADM, that's also a private agriculture company based in the US. Bayer is German. John Deere, CNH Industrial, Syngenta, DuPont is familiar with you. Nutrient, Yara International, and BASF. So taken together, it's hundreds of billions of dollars, and they even surpass the gross domestic product of developing countries. So let's disabuse our minds that the public sector is the lead in global agriculture. It's no longer, it is the private sector. That's why we have to engage them, because whether we like it or not, they are the leaders of global agriculture. Now, this is even a bigger picture. No? When you speak about the global information economy, Apple alone has $851 billion income. That's more than all those revenues of those agricultural companies combined. And you put Microsoft, 700 billion plus, Alphabet, 700 billion plus, and Amazon, 851 billion. So if you put all these things together, they surpass every, the gross domestic products of many even developed countries. So the message here is, take note, hindi na agriculture, is no longer agriculture that is leading the global economy. It's information. And the biggest players of our global economy are the global information companies. So this is the macro context of our work, not only in extension, but also in research and extension. Okay, now I will shift to what is happening in the country. This is how our existing agriculture and fisheries extension, when I say AFE, that is agricultural and fisheries extension system. And it's a very much challenged setup because, due to the local government code, of course, and the Agricultural Fisheries Modernization Act, supposed to be, DAATI is on the lead. But the trouble is DAATI, although it has regional training centers, it has no control over the frontliners of extension, which are the municipal agriculturists, the agricultural extension workers, and even in the provinces. Although the AFMA says that they can integrate, coordinate, but they don't have control over municipal agricultural officers. So this is the basic challenge. We have a system that is not monolithic, as I will show you later in the other countries. And take note, that's not the only one. There are several entities doing extension work to the same farmer and fisher folk. So the Department of Agriculture and the Bureau of Fisheries Aquatic Resources, even if we say that extension was devolved, the DA is doing plenty of extension work in the countryside through their attached agencies. There are more than 20 attached agencies of the DA and about, I think, 8 staff bureaus right now, and many of these are still doing extension work. Yes. So those are the other DA agencies. Take note, also the other national government agencies like the Department of Agrarian Reform, the Department of Environment. They are also doing extension work and dealing with the same guys there in the grassroots. And take note, SUCs, because this is a pattern after our tripartite system, they are also doing extension apart from research and instruction, doing the same kind of work, and going to the same farming and fishing communities. And international non-government organizations, there are plenty of them here. And one, of course, is one of the leaders here is IRI, although, of course, IRI refuses to work with directly. They say, I came from the CGIR, we don't work directly with farmers, we work through national government agencies. And take note, as I've said, the private sector in my farm, the extension workers there are coming from the private sector. I plant hybrid rice, and my extension workers are from SL Agritech and the Pioneer Hybrid. They are even more mobile and more visible than those coming from the municipal agricultural office. And of course, the civil society organization. So this is the existing state of extension in this country. Ang dami-daming players going to the same people. Kaya minsan nalilito yung farmer, lalo na dami mga survey by different agencies, but the same beneficiaries. So what is the outcome of that system? Number one, as I mentioned, our efforts are fragmented, and it's really a pity we have so much efforts in extension, but they're not unified. They are fragmented. And so that is why the implementation of programs, like for instance in the Department of Agriculture, it's compartmentalized. May kanya-kanyang, kunyari, the different bureaus, kunyari, Philippine Coconut Authority, Sugar Regulatory Administration, and others. They implement their own programs, they have their own people, but they go to the same guy in the countryside. No? And so, because of this compartmentalized and fragmented extension system, the linkages among those who are supposed to receive or utilize technology with research and extension is weak. And this has been a problem for ages. And we see, that not much effort has been done to overcome this. And this is really a big challenge. We have plenty of technologies. Nakita nyo kanina yung pinapakita sa video. That's only one. That's only the College of Agriculture. If you take the other colleges here, and if you go outside of UPLB, the other state universities, the research system, plenty of technologies. But in my more than 20 years, I work in an international research organization. Karamihan na nandyan lang sa loob. Nasa ating mga computer, nasa ating mga aparato, nasa ating mga museum, etc. ang mga produkto, but they only reach a very small fragment of our farmers and fishers. So that's the idea of scaling, as we will discuss later on. And lastly is, well, this is also a perennial challenge. Hanggang ngayon, sinasabi natin ay, mahirap pa rin ang ating mga magsasaka, pero we are really happy that Dr. David says milyonaryo na yung mga farmers niya sa Argao. And so that should be really a model of really bringing prosperity to our farmers and fisher folk. Tingnan naman natin sa ibang bansa. These are our neighbors, and we have studied this directly. In Vietnam, of course, Vietnam is socialist. So meron silang National Agricultural Extension Center, and we have visited this. So they have provincial agricultural extension centers. Makakapapakita ko mamaya. And in the province, there are districts. Para rin sa atin, And up to the commune level, up to the farmers associations. They have very strong farmers associations in Vietnam. So this is a monolithic system from national down to the village, to the commune, down to the farmers associations. And one thing good about a socialist system, if there is a program coming from national, it goes down, implemented quickly in farmers associations. This is the secret of Vietnam's success in agriculture. Many of them were trained by us, but we don't have their social and political infrastructure, efficient and effective social infrastructure. But take note, this is not alone. They are working with, there are also private companies now in Vietnam. There are universities, they are very much advanced. We visited some of this in Hanoi. The mass media, one thing good about the socialist system, the mass media is controlled by government. Ayaw natin sa Pilipinas, marami magagalit niyan. But take note, if we have a conference on agriculture in Hanoi that goes all throughout Vietnam, because that is disseminated by the state media. And mass organizations, farmers organizations, other government organizations, and there are also now non-government organizations in Vietnam. So this is one of the secrets of success of Vietnamese agriculture. A very efficient, effective, and a monolithic and a pluralistic extension system. Ayan, tingnan ninyo, parang munisipyo, yung Hanoi Provincial. We visited this somewhere November 2019 for the pandemic. Tatlong storage yan, mas parang munisipyo siya. But take note, this is just a provincial extension center. And we asked the head, how much is your budget? He said, in a year, $500 million goes to this center, and much of this is coming from the province, and also, of course, there is a counterpart from the National Extension Center. Now let's go to Japan. Japan, meron din National Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries, the national level, but they have provincial. The prefecturate is an equivalent of our provinces. They have the Provincial Directorate of Extension. And they have agricultural extension centers in the villages, in the districts, working with local leaders, village councils, and cooperatives. This is one thing also very strong in Japan. Their farmers and fisher folk are organized. And this is the one that delivers the technologies to farming and fishing communities. But this is not alone. This is also the strength of the Japan's extension system. There are subject matter specialists, SMS, coming from the private sector, coming from the universities. Is also a pluralistic system, and they assist the agricultural extension centers in terms of technologies. So marami yung mga SMS dito, mga professors nga yung mga universities dyan, pupunta dyan. And in fact, yung mga galing sa private sector. And one thing good, even their professors, they are deployed in the factories. Like sa Toyota, may mga professors dyan. na galing sa mga universities, sa kanilang mga private sector companies. So this is another model that we are trying to emulate. The one thing that is the strength of this is the subject matter specialists that are really supporting agricultural extension centers. Now, this is India. I work in India for 12 years. And this is the only country in the world, how I wish we can do this, which is a Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Sana meron tayong Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. So ibig sabihin, they are putting farmers on top of everybody. And farmers of India are very powerful. They can topple ministers. That is why the government is really afraid of them. Not really afraid, but working with them. And even in their ministry, their farmers are very much enshrined. And in the districts, in the provinces, we have this Agricultural Technology Management Agency. This is an pluralistic, also intergovernmental and private sector group working through farm and information advisory centers. This is the equivalent of our Provincial Extension Center. And take note, this is a collaboration among public, private, non-government para they have barefoot technicians there and the input dealers working with communities. So, in India, this is very much enshrined in the state. One thing about India, one state there, like the state where we work in Andhra before, it's now divided into two. Telangana is the other one. That can be as big as the Philippines. And one district there can be as big as a province. But take note, this is their system of extension. Last one is China. And one of our colleagues in camp, that's Dr. Puntado, worked with FAO, and they established this country agro-technological extension centers. This is also equivalent of our Provincial Extension Center. Take note, this is one thing that we would like to emulate here. National counterpart is only 10%. Provincial funding is 90%. If I look at those sites in 1984 to 85, but after 10 years, 85 provinces in China had all this. And we believe that all of the provinces now in China is this. One thing, our experience, we were also working with China. It's when you go there and let's say we plant pigeon tea in this area. Let's say it's 1,000 hectares. You go there, you go back there 2 years. After they will have 10,000 hectares. So that's this is a story of scaling. China doesn't work in small bits. They work big, and of course China is big. So if we are a small and we work big, I think we can even emulate the experience of China in technology, scaling technologies. So this is it. Basing on those lessons and the existing situation of Philippine extension, we really need to drastically reform the extension system for us to really undergo agriculture modernization and fisheries in the Philippines. This is one of the pillars now of the Department of Agriculture. It's the paradigm of new thinking of Philippine agriculture. So this is it. This is the secret. If you have seen in those countries, massive technology utilization. We have seen how farmers and fishers utilize technologies and advance agricultural modernization in their countries. And this is really extension. The utilization of technologies, as you all know, is really a product of extension. But of course, don't forget about research. That is why research and extension should always go together, because we may be strong in research, like in the university. But if our extension is weak, our reach and impact is very weak. And this is also a challenge, not only to UPLB College of Agriculture and Food Systems, but the other universities in the Philippines. What does a modern agricultural and fisheries extension system look like? Number one, we have seen again in the other countries, livelihoods is the key. Extension should support rural livelihoods. It's not only a matter of transferring technology. That's useless if this is not utilized or applied as a business in the countryside. And we saw this, through the farmers' organizations in Vietnam. And even in Taiwan, the secret of Taiwan, they have very strong fisher folk and farmers associations. And so that should be the number one feature of our modern extension system. Not only transferring technologies, not only training, but really supporting livelihoods through rural enterprises. And the second one is it's not only coming from the Department of Agriculture, the public sector, it should come from various sources. And with the fourth industrial revolution, the digital revolution, we have many sources of information right now. And so global sources, not only national, through the internet. So we should have not only one, but multiple sources of innovations. And I've illustrated that in the models of the other countries. It's not only now a public system, it's a public-private people institutional arrangement. So it's a pluralistic. Hindi na lang nag-iisa, hindi kaya ang gobyerno nito. And yes, well, everybody has been speaking about this, but we are paying lip service. When you say market demand driven, again, that's related to enterprises, because enterprises, their life, is through dealing with markets and dealing with, meeting demands. And yes, this is one thing. This is our dream. We have seen this in India. India is very much advanced in ICT 4D. They call it ICT for development, ICT 4D, and they're applying it in extension. I will explain that later in the presentation. So this is a modernized agricultural and fisheries extension system. If you look at the papers of our professors and our experts, many of them are discussing this, pero hanggang drawing lang tayo. But our frustration, my frustration is I've seen this being done in other countries. Yung mga Vietnamese nga, tinatanong ko sila, what is your vision of agriculture? Tumingin sa akin ang tagal-tagal, and then somebody asked, sir, what's vision? Hindi nila alam ang ibig sabihin ng vision. But look at their, look at their agriculture. Even the Chinese, no? Hindi naman marunong sumulat. Magaling kayo kasi tayo sa English. But look at what they're doing. So the key here is, it's not only matter of drawing or writing. Let's just do it. And so this is really a big challenge for all of us. Now, I'd like to introduce the human faces of passion and grit and passion as indicated the title of this presentation. This is the group called the Coalition for Agricultural Modernization in the Philippines. So these are the human faces. We are led by our national scientist here, Dr. Emil Javier. He is the chairman. And his record is held many positions, former University of the Philippines president, and the OST secretary, etc., etc. And he had a direct line to Marcos. He was telling me, Marcos is calling him 2:00 in the morning. He had a direct line to the president. And yes, our former president is Dr. Benigno Pecson. He is a balik scientist. He came from the private sector, a very passionate advocate of the cocoa levy and biotechnology, and now replaced by Dr. Dong Rasco, Eufemio Rasco Jr., an academician, the NAST, a former field rice director, and also coming from IPB director and UP Mindanao. And the others, Dr. Fernando Bernardo is one of the spark plugs of province-led extension systems. He is one of the brains, major brains. And he was our former dean at the College of Agriculture. I think he may even have been was he the first dean? And when I was a student, he was our dean, no? And he moved on to BISCA. He founded BISCA and on to CIRCA. He was also at the Ministry of Education as Undersecretary. The other spark plug here is Dr. Tito Contado there, former officer of the Food and Agriculture Organization. And they may be here right now participating, hearing us. And of course, our former treasurer, may she rest in peace, Nelia Gonzalez. And she is now replaced, I think, by Bioli Villegas. Wala si Bioli dito. And take note, former Chancellor Villarreal. And yes, we have there our national scientist, Dr. Dolores Ramirez. Maraming nagkukwentuhan, marami raw sumemplang sa kanyang Botany 50. We came from a 5-year curriculum. By the way, you may be wondering, I am a DevCom graduate, but I'm a graduate of the College of Agriculture because I shifted from the 5-year BSI curriculum to the DevCom curriculum. And at that time, DevCom was still under the College of Agriculture. And yes, I don't have much time to introduce the others. There are also young faces here. You could see gray hairs, but there are also young faces there. Jim Cano is there, and the others, no? Kamukha ko yan. Siguro, ewan ko kung ako yan. Yeah. And yes, there are many more. There are about 90 people in camp. And so let me emphasize, this is the one that really passionately advocated for province-led agriculture, including the Asia Rice Foundation, in which Dr. Javier was also the former chair and now being chaired by Dr. Santiago Obian. By the way, before I forget, Dr. Lantican is another national scientist here. CAMP is composed of several national scientists and eminent scientists and extension people in the country. So this is our passion, a province-led extension system. I think they, when I was in India, they were already discussing this in the late 90s, early 2000. And the reason is right now, in fact, we have a very dramatic policy shift, no? Because right now, even if the local government could empower local government units to deliver extension services, the funds were not devolved. But with a new executive order, the Mandanas Doctrine, this is now fully delivered, devolved to local government units. We will discuss that more in detail later on. And yes, the provinces have economies of scale. They can co-finance, just like what we have seen in the other countries, in China and in Japan. They can co-finance extension programs with the national government. And yes, because they are there in the grassroots, they know more about the challenges and the problems of farmers and fishers, so they are more in a position to address the challenges of farmers and fishers more than the national agencies. And yes, this province-led extension system, to us, as demonstrated by the other neighboring countries, is our best institutional innovation for decentralized extension. And we thank the President for signing that executive order implementing the Mandanas Doctrine. So how does PAFES look like? You know, so again, hindi tayo original. Tinitingnan lang natin yung ginagawa. Ito, hindi na drawing ito sa ibang bansa. And so we are also doing it here, no? So now, ang bida na ay ang provincial local government unit. You know, hindi na national, no? So hindi na sasabihin, beginning next year, hindi na natin sasabihin ang national ang leads extension. Hindi na, probinsya na yan. And the other local government agencies. So supporting kas na lang tayo. And so, of course, the Department of Agriculture is there. Definitely, state universities, big are the sources of local technology. The private sector, we would like to emphasize, they have demonstrated, and they are demonstrating, they are now the biggest players in agriculture. The national government agencies, because they have the technical expertise, which may be outside of the DA, and definitely the municipal and city local government units, and mostly farmer and fishers organizations. They are no longer just beneficiaries, but are partners in extension. So this is how PAFES look like. It's a pluralistic system, public-private people partnership. And as I've said, hindi drawing yan, nakikita natin it's working in the other countries. So I think we can really make it work right here. So features, siyempre, province is the lead. You know, that is now the focus and the locus of agricultural and fisheries extension operations. And yes, there is a collaborative province-led program. This is a very important component of PAFES. And you know, because before, yung mga probinsya at munisipyo, they were just implementing national programs. But right now, they will be on the lead with PAFES. And even the management of extension, it will shift from national to the province, and that will be headed by the governor, as we will illustrate later on. And yes, again, paulit-ulit kong sinasabi, the private sector and the civil society organizations should be involved. And yes, this is a formula that will really sustain, you know, agriculture and fisheries extension in the provinces, even if we have a Mandanas Doctrine, because the national counterpart will still be needed by municipalities, especially in the those in the 5th and 6th class categories. This is one thing that we would like to happen, and it's now happening in one province, in Ilocos Norte. The operational arm of PAFES is the Provincial Agricultural Fisheries Extension Center. Ang kinopya natin yan doon sa Vietnam, kinokopya natin yan sa Japan at saka sa India. So again, let me emphasize, hindi na lang drawing ito, ginagawa na ng ating mga kapitbahay, no? So how does this look like? How does the Provincial Extension Center look like? So this is the basic structure, no? There is a management council or a committee that is on top of that, and it is managed by a center director and working directly with municipal and city agriculturists and agricultural extension workers down to the communities. Now take note, you know, the province, that center director is appointed by the province, and that is why there is only a a dotted line here, because administratively, the law says that these people, municipal, city, and AEWs, agriculturists, are under the mayors and municipal mayors and city mayors. So technical lang ang supervision ng Provincial Extension Center. And so, what about, unahin muna natin, yung management committee, no? So, the chair, of course, is the governor, but take note, the co-chairs, the Department of Agriculture, Regional Executive Director, the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Director, take note, dalawa ang director ng DA sa region, no? Yung RED, Regional Executive Director, at saka yung Fisheries, yung BIFAR. And who are the members? So take note, again, all the agencies in the province, the HUC President, the League of Municipalities, this is the Organization of Mayors, and League of City Mayors, the President. There is this thing called the League of Municipal and City Agriculturists of the Philippines. This is an organization of frontliners. There is a provincial president and all the heads of DA agencies operating in the province, the private sector representative. We have this thing called the PAPSI, Provincial Agricultural and Fisheries Council, that is the private sector representation, and the rural-based organization representative. So this is the one that governs the Provincial Extension Center, and the center director is appointed by the governor in, with the concurrence of all the members of the management committee or council. Now, take note, this is one thing that is sorely lacking in the, in the extension system. The kind of technical assistance, and we copied this from Japan, if you remember. These are subject matter specialists, no? Crops, livestock, fisheries, extension, agribusiness, community organization, infrastructure. So, but take note, they are not full-time. They are only deployed on call. Kinakopya natin yung Japan. And if there are problems in any of the municipalities, they are called upon to assist. And they will also be very much responsible in developing the provincial extension program. And take note, as we have mentioned, there are only dotted lines. They don't have any direct administrative authority. They are only technically supervising and technically working with municipal and city agriculturists, including the center director. But this is governed by a memorandum of agreement that is signed by all the parties here, and that will bind everything and, define the roles and responsibilities in the province-led agriculture and fisheries extension system. So this is how it will look operationally in the provinces. This is how we are going to really rationalize and reform the fragmented extension system that is now still operating, much operating in the country. And hopefully, over time, all provinces, the extension institutional arrangement will look something like this. Now, there are support systems. Of course, financing is very important. Land Bank, Agricultural Credit Policy Council, Philippine Crop Insurance, and the Cooperative Development Authority. They will be, supporting the management council in terms of credit and, other technical assistance. And the secretariat here is the Office of the Provincial Agriculturist. Eventually, the Office of the Provincial Agriculturist, Provincial Fisheries Officer, and the Provincial Veterinarian, tatlo yan, will be merged into the Provincial Extension Center. And that center director may be rotated among them, but of course, appointed by the governor and the concurrence of all the members of the council. That is why sinasabi ng ating mga ibang kasama ay baka mapupolitika daw. Hindi mangyayari yan because this is a council. Decision making here will not only be the governor. There are others here who will be deciding with the governor. And so this is how it will look. Take note, even down here in the grassroots, the rural-based organizations, we would like to emphasize that the youth should be involved here. And the women's organizations, ay buhay pa naman yata yung mga 4-H. Marami tayong ganyan nung araw, and they were all being supported by ATI. So hopefully they will be revived to assist agricultural extension workers on the ground. Okay, nababasa nyo yung new thinking ni Secretary Dar. This is how we are going to operationalize it. Dapat hindi lamang drawing yon. So number one thing, again, let me emphasize, is we really have to develop agro enterprises. The only way we can really make farmers and fishers prosperous is for them to manage businesses. And what is this PCIP? This is a provincial commodity investment plan. ito po ay magandang nangyari because the PRDP, Philippine Rural Development Project, that's a $400 million project supported by the World Bank. Every province now has a PCIP. What is the PCIP? It is an investment plan wherein the provinces commit resources approved by the governor and the provincial board, where they are going to commit investments in priority commodities. So naka-define na yung ating focus, no? Hindi na tayo magsisimula sa when we will make these programs, the provincial extension programs, we will be anchored in the already approved provincial commodity investment plans. And those priority commodities will be our major priorities at the outset, including the other DA banner programs. Of course, they have the usual rice, corn, livestock, fisheries, high-value crops banner programs. And so now, the provinces will be the one that will integrate, that will coordinate, that will synchronize all of this para talagang hindi na fragmented, no? Ang delivery ng ating extension services. So, ang dami na nating ginagawang ganyan. Many of the agencies, the Department of Agriculture, the regions, the universities, ganyan, demonstration, ang dami-dami. But, walang focus. So, ang gagawin natin dito, they should be focused on the priority commodities. That is why in Ilocos Norte, we are saying that number one focus should be garlic. That's their number one priority. You know, onion, tomato, green mango, you know, bangus. They also have goat. I think they have about 7 priority commodities. Dapat yan ang focus ng ating technology adaptation. There may be technologies available now, but they should be made more location specific so that they will be more appropriate in the provinces. And yes, ang dami ng training. Yan ang sinasabi natin sa ating mga kasama sa DA. Where were those people whom we have trained? We have trained thousands. Training pa rin ng training, no? Pero saan ang ating impact? So dapat ang ating training, we really have to train people to be business organizers, business. We train them on making business proposals. We train them to make, you know, to manage business enterprises, no matter how small, because that's, I've said, that is the only way we are going to make them prosperous, as we have seen in the other countries. So, ang training dito ay nakafocus pa rin doon sa mga private, priority commodities ng ating PCIP. And this is our dream. You know, this is the one that will really modernize and revolutionize. Sinasabi nga nila, disruptive technology daw ito, because I will illustrate to you later on. This will really, you know, revolutionize the rates of extension services. Because how many farmers do we have? Farmers and fishers po, 15 million. How many extension workers do we have? You know, about 3,000, 5,000, wala pa, no? So, yan ang lagi nating sinasabi. And when you go to the countryside, hindi namin nakikita po yung aming extension worker. You know why? Because their reach is very much limited, you know. And again, in the past, they have budgetary constraints. So why don't we utilize information and communication technology, the fourth industrial revolution, digital revolution, to really assist extension workers in providing advisory services. And don't forget, as I will show later on, also radio. And institutional strengthening. Ang daming mga challenges ng ating mga extension workers. So you need to also develop the competencies, provide them the benefits that cannot be done solely by local government units. That's where we will need national assistance. So ito yung ating gagawin in the new extension system that we will introduce. Again, makulit ako, lagi private sector. Sila naman ang marunong sa negosyo. Tayo sa gobyerno, that's not our forte, no? That's why this none of our business teaching people how to do business. We don't know how to do business. And even in the College of Agriculture, we really, and the UPLB, we commend the Chancellor and the Dean, our Dean. I think we are going to embark on Agro industry consortium. We are going to link the university with the private sector. That's really a very, you know, path-breaking initiative. And I think hopefully we will be able to launch that during the forthcoming grand reunion this year of the alumni. Yes, the best people who know the markets are those from the private sector. We don't know, you know, public sector, yun ang sinasabi ko, ang dami nating products, naka-display lang, no? Ay hindi naman tayo kasi marunong sa marketing. So we really have to tap the private sector to collaborate with us in marketing our products. And yes, because these people know the market, they will be able to identify our priorities. So ibig sabihin yung gagawin nating research and extension and even our instruction should be really based on what is happening there in the market. Because train tayo ng train, ang dami nating graduates, dami nating ginagawang research, hindi naman nagagamit kasi hindi naman kailangan sa market. So the private sector is good at that. And yes, of course, this is very much in place now. Input supply and custom service provision in my farm provision. In my farm, I just call somebody, they will prepare my farm, and I pay them 2,400 per hectare. When during harvest time, again, the harvester will come, I will pay them 10% harvest. And yes, capacity building. So the best people who will train our farmers and fisher folk to develop agro enterprises are the ones who are doing the businesses themselves, and that is the private sector. So after how many years of grit and passion, finally in 2017, Camp was able to get an audience with Secretary Piñol, you know. Pero maraming mga symposium, seminar, yan, province extension, ganyan. Pero yan, puro mga salita pa lang noon. But the action started with this meeting. And we really would like to acknowledge the director of ATI here, Director Aton, because he is close to Secretary Piñol at that time. And I think one of our panelists, Professor Apo Andrew Gasmen, he was still with ATI at that time. He was the head of the Policy and Planning Division. And these are the stalwarts of camp. Our chairman, our vice president at that time, our president, you know, our extension specialist, they were able to get an audience with Secretary Piñol, and Secretary Piñol said, go. No? So that piloting initiative of PAFES started right after this one. So this is really a, I would say, a major milestone in making our passion bear fruit. So what was done after this? We immediately signed a memorandum of agreement following year. And so again, you see the stalwarts of camp. This is the ATI, former ATI director, Dr. Nalipatan mo tayo. Siguro si Apo Andrew. She is a professor of the University of Southern Mindanao. And she was replaced by that the guy beside, behind her, and that is now the director Aton, the existing director of ATI. And yes, this is our president. That is Dr. Obien, one of the stalwarts in the PAFES in Ilocos Norte. And yes, those people I've been introduced. That's also Dundayang Hiram of ATI. So we signed a memorandum of agreement, and this memorandum of agreement mandated the piloting of PAFES in 3 major provinces. And where are these? Ilocos Norte, the Samar provinces, and Agusan del Sur. Now, actually, the original candidate in Luzon was Isabela, but the provincial agriculturist went out. And so we had to transfer that shoot Ilocos Norte because, of course, that's also the advocacy of Dr. Obien. So ito yung mga original pilot sites. No? And so immediately in the same month, no, wala kaming appointment, wala. Volunteer basis. We use our car. We use, nothing. No traveling allowance. We went to Region 1, and we first landed with the Office of Regional Director. This is very crucial in PAFES. So at that time, the director was Director John Alpiar. No? And they immediately, this was his Regional Technical Director, they immediately embraced PAFES because the DA really needs a mechanism also of implementing its programs in the provinces. So we got instant support. So hindi lang memorandum ang ating kailangan dito sa PAFES, kailangan talagang we have to really link personally with people who will be able to help us in the provinces. And that is the regional field office. And so we also went to the university. The Mariano Marcos State University is an excellent university. Many centers of excellence are in this university. And by the way, Dr. Obien was formerly a president of this. So the president now is a lady, that's Shirley Agrupis, and with her vice presidents and the director of extension. So we had also a meeting, the same following day. And these are the key people in the province. And in fact, in all the provinces, we really have to link with the Office of the Provincial Agriculturist. This lady is the Provincial Agriculturist of Ilocos Norte, Norma Lagmay. No? And this one, we have a training facility in Batak, the Agricultural Training Institute. She is the center chief. And this is the head of the organization of frontliners. This is a very crucial organization because they are the frontliners. So he is the Municipal Agriculturist of Solsona. And yes, of course, this is the Regional Director of Agricultural Training Institute in Region 1. And of course, that guy looks myself. So these are, and of course, Dr. Obien. And yes, there was this thing called the Regional Agricultural and Fisheries Extension Network. We congratulate ATI for spearheading this. And so this is an organization of all agencies in the region doing extension. So multi-agency ito. And they had a meeting, so we presented PAPES there, and we got immediately, of course, their support. And the head here is Mr. Rogelio Evangelista. He's the training director of ATI Region 1. And then, yes, the frontliners, these are all the municipal agriculturists of Ilocos Norte. Hindi talaga magtatagumpay ang extension kung wala itong mga ito. They are very much challenged. We could see they have many challenges and many problems, but these people are committed, only that they lack support. And that is why we are really positioning PAFES as the major support system of the League of Municipal and City Agriculturists of the Philippines. And so finally, the following year, within the same following month, we already had a multi-agency consultation. So inisa-isa muna namin sila, and then later on, we assembled them together in this workshop. So ano ba talaga yung gagawin natin sa PAPES, pinag-usapan. And the guy who was very crucial here, of course, is the president of MMSU, the director of ATI, the regional director of ATI, and this guy, in blue. This is our connect to the governor of Ilocos Norte. At that time, it was Amy Marcos. Yan ang Man Friday, no? Ni Amy Marcos at saka yung existing governor ngayon, si Matthew Marcos. That's Edwin. Si Apo Edwin. Yan. Okay? Finally, the Top Gun came to us. That's after, the elections na ito. We were slowed down by the election. So he's now the governor and very supportive. And so he came to this workshop where we developed a program for what we call the Ilocos Norte Agricultural and Fisheries Extension System. One thing about, we have plenty of young governors now. We hope that the political landscape will be like that over time, where, local government units will be headed by young people. You see Metro Manila, that's why you have your Yorme, you have your Pasig, Soto, and the other young mayors, not only in Metro Manila, but outside of Metro Manila. And finally, after 2 years of grit and passion, the PAFES in Ilocos Norte was established right here in Lawag. And that was exactly on February 28. And you see here in this picture, of course, Secretary Dar. Secretary Dar assumed office I think about August 2019. Ito yung una niyang prioritize, no? So pumunta sila. In fact, they went to Lawag. They hold the management committee meeting in Lawag. And that is where the next day they signed the memorandum of agreement. This memorandum of agreement is the one that formally establishes the province-led extension system. So every local government unit is tied to a memorandum of agreement. And you see there the governor, president of the university, the president of camp, and all the other actors here, beside them, supporting PAFES. Mabilis, no? So immediately, within the same, I think 2 months after, the Provincial Extension Center, based on the spirit of the Memorandum of Agreement, the provincial governor signed an executive order establishing the Provincial Extension Center of Ilocos Norte. And may building na sila. This is about finished. I think they are going to inaugurate this soon, no? And it's a 3-story building. Nakita nila siguro yung pinakita namin yung Hanoi. Ay nainggit sila. Baka mas maganda pa ito. Bago. Brand new building. Right there in Lawag. No? And yes, they have a program. Last April, this was finally mapped out. A collaborative provincial agricultural and fisheries extension program. This is a path-breaking initiative. For the first time in the history of extension in this country, we have a program that is now led by the provinces and collaborated with the different players, as we have explained, in the system of PAFES. So this is a multi-commodity, multi-party extension program, and it will start running down 2022 to 3 years, 23-24. 3 years, and this will be funded through the collaboration of the Department of Agriculture, the provincial government, and other funding sources, perhaps also the PRD. So immediately after assuming office, we really have to thank Secretary Dar. This was in September 10. He assumed office, I think if I remember, it was August. Immediately, he created a technical working group on the establishment of collaborative provincial agricultural and fisheries extension systems in PAFES or PAFES. And that was chaired by the Undersecretary for Policy and Planning, now the Chief of Staff. And we are also part of this. I'm representing CAMP here, and also Dr. Obien, the HRIS Foundation, and the other officers of the Department of Agriculture. And yes, also, in the same following year, following year, December 2020, he issued the Secretary Dar issued a memorandum now mainstreaming province-led agricultural fisheries extension in DA operation. So, ibig sabihin, we really have to get out of Ilocos Norte and roll it out in the other provinces of the Philippines. So this was a path, these two were the path-breaking policy directives of the Department of Agriculture in really mainstreaming PAFES in DA operations. And it took Secretary Dar to really, initiate these path-breaking policy directives. So right now, there are now about 15 provinces aside from Ilocos Norte, no? In fact, nadagdagan ang Region 1, Pangasinan nadagdagan na, so 16 na yan. So take note, every province, every region, they selected a province for PAFES to be piloted. So lahat ng regions, no? And a partner university. So this is how the universities will link with the DA in really, trying to do extension. And Pitts and the Chancellor, they are listening. We really challenge the university. We can go, the camp met last Saturday, and one of our resolution was to initiate a Laguna transformation movement, and PAFES will be a vehicle. So we will go to Governor Hernandez, propose to him the establishment of PAFES in Laguna, because of course Camp UPLB, we are all in Laguna. And if you remember, I think the first dialogue in this forum, Secretary Dar was saying, what are we doing in Los Baños? What are we doing in Laguna? So Chancellor and Dean Pitts, I think this is a challenge to the university and to the college. We really have to do something in Laguna, and I tell you, PAFES, the Laguna transformation movement, there are several private entities that are belonging to this coalition. We will be able to do an impact. The researches that we are doing, those products that we are having here, will really be having an impact in the whole province of Laguna, and especially in the municipality of Los Baños. The former mayor, Cesar Perez, was our good friend, and when we were visiting him upon our retirement, sinasabi niya sa akin, bakit pa kayo lumalayo? Bakit hindi na natin simulan sa Los Baños? And there are CGIR centers here, So alam niyo ang ginawa ng SIP dito, nag-initiate sila, they acted very fast. Yung ating mga root crops, they distributed planting materials in in many barangays, but that's only one. So we have we have this Los Baños science community here, and I think we can do much in Los Baños and much in Laguna if we will be able to join the Laguna transformation movement with PAFES as the institutional arrangement. So this is the last part of this presentation. This is the big challenge. Ang dami-dami nating mga pinapakitang products, ang dami nating publications na po-promote tayo, university professor, etc., Professor 12. Dami nating paper. Pero asan ang impact ng ating trabaho? And so again, I was sharing with Pitts, the only thing we can make an impact in the College of Agriculture is through research and extension. But even if we are strong in research, we are world-class, how do we really scale this? How do we reach millions of farmers? Ang ating kasi pag nakikita natin ng mga report, how much, yung mga techno-demo, etc., 500, 1,000, that's nothing, When you go to China, of course, China is big. And when you go to Vietnam, they will tell you, we are working with thousands of farmers and fishers. Dapat ganyan ang gawin natin for us to have an impact. So this is a model. I got this from CIMIT, and they are doing this in Mexico. Kaya ito yung pyramid na, this is their model, When you speak about scaling, huwag na natin gagamitin yung scaling up, scaling out. Naririnig natin, we confuse scaling up and scaling out. Just to clarify, these are two different things. When you say scaling is 3 dimensions, when you say scaling up, it's really institutional transformation. You need a transformed institution, a reformed institution to really, establish policies for a technology to be spread. Even if you have a very superior technology, if there is no institutional or a policy support to make that spread, yan, nangyayari. Nandiyan pa rin sa ating computer, nandiyan sa ating mga display panel. But when you speak about scaling out, this is thing, reaching multitudes, reaching millions of users. Hindi lang naman dapat thousands. We should be able to reach all. And so this is the major limitation of our extension because tingnan niyo yung organizational structure ng ating munisipyo. Ilang pieces lang, how many people are there, no? And they cannot move, lalong-lalo na may pandemic at saka wala talaga silang travel budget, no? That's very limited. So they cannot reach millions if you put this nationally. So that's scaling out, but the more challenge is scaling, making these technologies practiced permanently by our people, by our farmers and fisher folk. And so when we speak about scaling, it should be in 3 dimensions. To reach a critical mass of people, you need an institution, a policy to support that reaching out, and you need to ingrain this to the minds and values of our farmers and fisher folk so that they will become permanent and, using our word, sustainable. So dapat ganito ang ating approach sa extension. Let me just share with you how we did that. Dapat hindi lang tayo drawing. No? When we were in India, we established what we call a virtual academy for semi-arid agriculture. Our problem, there are millions. India is another big country, no? But we have plenty of research in our computers. Ganun naman din tayo dito. So how do we reach these villages? By the way, India at that time had a vision. M.S. Swaminathan, if some of you will know him, had a vision of linking every village in the internet. And so this, they established what we call the rural information hubs. Ayan, itong isang pilot namin sa Adakal, we call it Adakal, 200 kilometers from the center, all managed by women, 4,000 strong women. So we upload information in the internet, and it's downloaded and localized by our local partner, the Adakal Welfare Society. And it will go every village in India, sana may picture pala ako dito, has an information kiosk. Ano nga yun? Battery, hindi naman battery. Generator operated yun. Lahat ng tao doon pumupunta. When you speak about e-governance, when the people of India deal with government, they go to that hub. Doon sila nagtatransact, lahat ng transactions. And by the way, that national ID that we are still struggling to establish, meron na yan sa India. No? And so every citizen can transact with government through these rural information hubs which are connected to every village in India. Okay, so yan. Take note, this is not a government facility. This is a facility managed by the Adarsha Welfare Society, 4,000 strong women. And that was our last mile. Nandyan yung server, nandyan yung kanilang internet cafe. Pumupunta lahat ng mga members dito to access that information coming from Epsa. Now, in Africa, much of our operation is in the whole of Africa except North Africa, Western and Southern Africa. I went to, this is Niger, I went to a village near our station and saw a radio station. Ang problema, wala namang kuryente dito. Paano ka kung bakit may station dyan? Now take note this one, there's a solar panel here. So this is a solar powered radio station. And in Niger, there are almost every province has a community radio station. If you have heard about the Project Tamboli of the late Louis Tabing, the same approach here in the Philippines. It's a low frequency radio station FM reaching the whole village. No? So how did we link with this station? From India, we upload that in the internet and localized. And there is this thing, wala pang ano noon, walang internet, walang kuryente dito ay. And so this is a World Space Radio. This World Space Radio, transmits, receives signals from the internet and localized by this station. We link them with the villagers through this radio. Yung radyong to walang baterya, di kwerdas lang yan. Na? And so every household has this radio. Tingnan ninyo, no? Nag-i-internet, fourth industrial revolution na tayo, ganito pa rin sa Africa. I tell you, many villages in Africa are still like this one. And this is not very far, not too long ago. So this is how we reached a critical mass. just by utilizing a simple technology enabled by the internet. In the Philippines, we had a similar initiative called the Philippine Academy for the Open Academy for Philippine Agriculture. This was hosted by Philrice and several agencies. The server was at Philrice, and this server linked it with IRE, with the national experts at Philrice, and the extension workers on the ground, eventually reaching the farmer. And they had clusters. And by the way, it can also be able, you can also access it. Farmers can also directly access that link. But of course, the direct access of the farmer was the extension worker. But one thing good was this extension worker was linked with the international expert and the national experts, and getting information directly through this portal. So this is yung sinasabi ko kanina. This is how the fourth industrial revolution, the digital revolution, can really help, in spreading out technologies to a critical mass of farmers and fishers. Now, don't forget radio. This is now an ongoing program in the Department of Agriculture. We propose this to have a unified school on the air on smart rice, we call it. And this is now being conducted in all regions because in the past, kanya-kanyang school on the air dito, 300 graduate, 1,000. Sabi namin, we piloted this in Region 2 in Cagayan Valley. We enrolled 10,000 farmers. Dapat ganun tayo sa extension. Hindi na lang 1,000, hindi na lang 500. We really have to reach millions. And this is the idea of scaling out. So this is our dream. I'm about to end. No? And we are proposing this in the provincial extension centers. They are doing this already in Africa. Why can't we do this here? It's an integrated digital platform for advisory services. What does this do? So number one, simulan natin, training. So all the information can be accessed in this portal, training, pero we need to link that to the provincial, to the extension system, to the people on the ground. And so the courseware and all the information needed, they can even also directly reach by the farmer through just a mobile phone. And traceability, we can trace the product, that rice. Alam natin saan nanggaling, alam natin kung anong variety just by clicking a button in your mobile phone. And the supply chain, we know, the supply chain from the producer to the market, we can trace that through this digital platform and advisory services, weather, fertilizer, pest, and certification. And, the other services, they're all in one. And ang maganda dyan, it can be accessed by a mobile phone. Everybody has a mobile phone now. And so hopefully we will be able to establish this gradually because there are, several challenges. Number one, the government will not be able to do it. We saw it in other countries. This is being done by the private sector. In India, there are private companies offering advisory services in extension using ICT. Ganito yung kanilang platform. But negosyo nila yon, and they collaborate with government. And when they do not perform, they can easily be replaced. There are plenty right now. So I think this is one dream that we would like, another passion that we will pursue in PAFES. Last April this year, we had an article about the potential support of the Mandanas ruling if implemented in boosting agricultural extension. This was published by the Inquirer. And yes, 2 months after, in June, the President signed Executive Order 138, now implementing the Mandanas Doctrine. What is this Mandanas Doctrine? What is this annual? I'm sure many of you have heard about this. It's just about sharing the internal revenue allotment. Because the existing arrangement ay yung mga local taxes lang. Kino-compute nila, yan ang ibibigay sa mga LGU. Ang sabi nila Mandanas, that is wrong. The internal revenue allotment should be based on the total revenue taxes collected nationally, including customs duties. So hindi lang dun sa area ng LGU. So that will tremendously boost the income, the era of LGUs. And so how much? In next year, that's 234 billion. Yan yung pupunta sa LGUs next year. And this is the thing, that we have anticipated in PAFES. How many years before we were already anticipating this? Because this is the missing element of the local government code. It devolved the function of delivering frontline extension services, but it did not devolve the funds. And so Executive Order 138 rectifies that gap. And so now, that income is going to the local government units. So beginning next year, there will be a transition phase. All those devolved functions, local government units, one of them is extension, will be permanently taken out from national government agencies and transferred to LGUs. Take note, that will take time. And in fact, the DA is still, I think they already have what they call a transition plan. But that will not happen overnight because, as I will explain, there are several challenges here that have to be addressed. And yes, the mandate now will see if the national government will only set policies, service delivery standards, and assist and oversee and monitor local government units. Ang sinasabi nila, ang ano raw, ang steering function, steering, parang when you steer a boat, no, will be done by the national government, but the rowing function will be done by local government units. So hindi pa rin mawawala ang national government agencies, but take note, number 3 is crucial, implementing mandanas. And so this will immediately apply to extension. So, but there are issues. This is from the Department of Agriculture. They have examined, the landscape of implementing Executive Order 138. There are other priorities, even if the budget of the local government unit will increase. Especially in the pandemic, there's a priority will be social protection, not necessarily agriculture. So that's the challenge. And especially in 5th and 6th class municipalities, I saw a table, there are more than 300 municipalities belonging to the 5th and 6th class. So dapat alalayan pa rin talaga sila, even with the Mandanas Doctrine. And definitely we are experiencing this in Ilocos Norte. Even if Ilocos Norte is a first-class province, the local government, the Office of the Provincial Agriculturists, our local partners, need to be steered and mentored on developing agricultural fisheries extension programs in terms of a collaborative nature, in terms of the spirit of PAFES. And we have done that. We have experienced that. I've shown you that document that we did together. And we didn't know there is a seal of good local governance being issued to local government units. And this has a fund. Kung wala kang seal of good local governance, you cannot access that fund. Ang problema, tinitingnan ko yung seal of local good governance, andun yung environmental, disaster, health, education, walang agriculture. Ewan natin bakit nila nakalimutan yung agriculture sa seal of good governance. So this can be one other advocacy that we could do so that agriculture will be included in the seal of good governance so that will increase the funding of LGUs. And yes, there should be incentives of local government units to prioritize agriculture and fisheries projects. And PAFES will be the mechanism of providing co-financing. I think this may be my last slide. This was one of the passion, again, of CAMP. We drafted an executive order, trying to really institutionalize PAFES in all provinces of the Philippines. But now it will be signed by no less than the president, because even if we have a directive from the Secretary of Agriculture, DILG is not under him, no? And the local government units are under the DILG. So, but if there will be an executive order mandating all provinces to establish PAFES by no less than the president, I think this will be really the culmination of the grit and passion of CAMP. And this was one of the resolutions, one of the policy directives deliberated on and approved during the recent National Food Security Summit. You may forget all those things that I've said in the last 30 minutes, but I'd like to sum up my presentation by, flying a butterfly. And this is the success formula for us in really rolling out province-led agriculture. So this is the backbone of research and extension in the Philippines. Of course, because the technologies, they come from research. They come from the university, they come from institutions, research institutions. But now we're trying to localize that through the universities in the provinces and shared through province-led extension with farmers and fishers. So if we have this backbone, now we have the skeleton of province-led agriculture and fisheries extension systems. Take note, research is very crucial. And that is why every region, every province has a partner university. That's why, this is the basic role of the university. But even the university should also be part of province-led extension to link with farmers and fishers. But hindi makakalipad. We have to have, the wings. What is the first element? The political will. We already have. We have Executive Order 138. I think the president, is very smart. Even if he will not have attained that federated system, if he has signed Bandana's Executive Order 138, that's essentially giving power to local institutions. So we have that, but we also have to have that in the governors. And steered by strategic management. What do we mean by strategic management? The provincial and municipal, city, local government units must be the ones that will secure food security for their own constituencies. The national government will assist them, but the basic mandate of local government units should be food security. The camp and even the Asia Rice Foundation is very passionate about that. And yes, we are now having, this is now in 16 pilot provinces. We have to prove success in the 16 pilot provinces for this to be rolled out eventually in the 81 provinces. And this will be through partnerships. But now, hindi pa rin talaga lilipad yan. Wala pang, kurang pa ang kanyang pakpak. So you need your technology. Ang usong-usong sinasabi natin, climate resilient technologies, and national support, whether we like it or not. The provinces will not be able to do it alone. We have to sustain national support, and that is where UPLB will be very crucial, because UPLB is a national university. We have to be the provider of national technologies that will be adopted in the provinces. Hindi pa rin lilipat. So we have to make that fly. And this one is the one that will make this fly. And what is this? This is us. Tayo ngayon, hindi lang tayo in this seminar, all over, we really have to link with each other. We have to exchange information. We have to collaborate. We have to partner with each other and support this initiative so that we will make this butterfly fly. This is my take-home message. This guy, he said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I think that's my take-home message. If we are not going to reform the extension system, if we are going to do business as usual, we do not expect, we are insane if we will expect different results. So what we really need now is to think out of the box, reform the existing system for us to expect different results. And what is this result? A modernized agricultural and fisheries extension system with prosperous farmers and fisherfolk. Maraming salamat po. Good morning.
Thank you very much again, Dr. Rex Navarro, for not only showing us and telling us about grit and passion. So very memorable po ang butterfly na yon. And hindi po talaga tayo makakalimutan what it takes to be an agricultural front runner. So again, thank you very much, Dr. Navarro, for your talk. And by the way, we have 200 plus participants across platforms. We're live via Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom. So we have participants all over the Philippines coming from different SUCs, different government offices like DepEd, DA. We also have farms, government offices, municipal agriculture offices, and other institutions. So napakalawak po ng ating audience for this morning's session. Now, if you have those questions, actually we have a few questions sa po sa ating Q&A box dito sa Zoom chat box. Ang format po ng ating open forum is an open panel discussion where we have invited ASI's homegrown frontrunners to give their insights and in a way promote their own grit and passion in extension service. So in addition to facilitating the questions by the audience, our panelists will engage in a fruitful discussion with our featured frontrunner for this episode, Dr. Rex Navarro. So let me introduce our three panelists. So first is an associate professor for the Agricultural Systems Studies and the current director of the Agricultural Systems Institute of College of Agriculture and Food Science here in UV Los Baños. He's no stranger to the AGP talk stage, and this morning he will be serving as one of our panelists for the open discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Virgilio T. Vilancho. And then our second panelist is a Professor Emeritus of Plant Pathology here in UP Los Baños, where he received his Bachelor of Science degree in Agriculture major in Plant Pathology in 1957. He also received his Master of Science degree in Plant Pathology from the Oklahoma State University in 1962 and his PhD in Nematology under Plant Pathology from the North Carolina State University at Raleigh in 1965. He is also a certified agriculture frontrunner with his decorated research and teaching works, publications, projects, programs, honors, and awards, both at the national and international levels. His way of showing his grit and passion in extension service is by leading the Farmer Scientist Training Program housed at the Agricultural Systems Institute. Ladies and gentlemen, later on we'll be joined by Dr. Romulo G. Davide. And our third and final panelist for this morning to join our guest speaker is a graduate of PhD in Extension Education in 2014 from the College of Public Affairs here in UP Los Baños. He was the former president and now advisor of the Philippine Extension and Advisory Services Network, the country forum for extension and advisory services in the Philippines. He was formerly the chief of Extension Policy and Standards Development Unit of the Agricultural Training Institute. Currently, he serves as a university researcher and the extension coordinator for the Agricultural Systems Institute, College of Agriculture and Food Science, UP Los Baños. So we have Dr. Andrew D. Gasman to be our third and final panelist, to be joined by Dr. Rex Navarro. So our format will be, we have our first question, and then after our speaker addresses this question, our three panelists will engage in a healthy discussion. So Dr. Navarro, allow me to read the first question for you. Galing po sa ating Zoom Q&A. Now that we are moving into the devolution transition, how do you think the LGU cope up with the systems discussed? And how will the DA encourage the LCEs to adopt these systems when over the years the DA has been luring the LGUs to prioritize agriculture, but many LGUs take it in the backseat? So Dr. Navarro, you have the floor.
Yeah, okay. In the past, we did not have that Executive Order 138. I hope that every participant, perhaps we can share that, Del, no? I have a copy of that. So that is the mandate that now frontline extension services, hindi lang agriculture, including health, and nandun sa, yung mga nandun sa local government code, will really have to be delivered by local government units because they will now be armed with additional funding. Now the challenge is for the DA now, because that will be a black grant that will be given to the LGUs. How are we going to persuade LGUs to really invest in agriculture? That will be another challenge. That is why in that executive order that we have drafted, that one that I have showed you, nakalagay doon 10% of that black grant will be devoted to agriculture. Siguro we are waiting for the president to sign that, and knowing him, he's smart. The elections are nearing. If he will sign that, ay mabango siya sa ating mga local government unit. But the bottom line is, it is really in the front lines. Again, it will be our passion to really advocate how do we really mainstream agriculture in local government programs. And so in this PAFES, like in Ilocos Norte, it will be negotiated. We were able to negotiate 50-50. 50 sa akin, sa local, sa provincial government, 50 sa DA. So that's going to be the modality in the other PAFES provinces. It will be a co-financing arrangement. Nakalagay kasi doon sa memorandum of agreement, provinces to really invest. And that will really bind them responsibility to invest. But the most important thing is we have to have a program. So that program will now define how much will be invested. In Ilocos Norte, we are projecting around 400 million. So kung 50-50 on, the 200 million. Kung 3 years, 100 million, 100 million each. It's not really much. That's for a first-class province. But as I've said, we really have to assist. Hindi po pwede siguro yung 50 sa mga 5 and 6 class provinces. And siguro yung mga 15 provinces, there will be, baka wala naman pa yung 5 and 6 class. But definitely, baka naman doon ay baka 70-30, it will really depend on the negotiation. So the summary of my answer is, really have to, there is now a policy instrument that is 138, Executive Order 138, another policy instrument really mandating investments in agriculture, and our passion to really advocate for agricultural and fisheries by the local government units. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answer, Dr. Navarro. To our panelists, Dr. Virgilio Villancia, Dr. Romulo Davide, and Dr. Andrew D. Gatman, you may now, the floor is now yours. You may open your cameras and your microphones. And we would like to hear also your insights about the question that Dr. Navarro answered. And also if you have a few words to say about your own grit and passion. So ayan, the floor is now open.
Okay. Sir Rex. Kumusta
Si
po?
Hill pala ito. Hindi ko nakita yung pangalan mo.
Si Hill ito.
Kaya oo, kilala ko pala lahat ng panelists.
Anyway, I just remember nung way back 2018 during my first engagement with PAPES. That was during the signing of the Memorandum of Agreement.
Nandun ka? Oh, very good. Yep.
Institute of Plant Breeding last time.
Okay, yes.
And
That's right. Yeah.
it's really, during that time, Andrew was just being recruited, have been recruited by our office, Agricultural.
Kaya nga, pinagalitan namin kasi hindi niya sinasabi, re-recruitan niyo pala. Hindi niya sinasabi.
But anyway,
good
still, ano pa rin kami sa PAPES. We're not getting out of it.
So Hill, sa Laguna, PAPES Laguna.
PAPES Laguna at saka sa PAPES Quezon.
Yes.
Of course. But one thing that I recognize lang dun sa mga presentations ninyo and what we realize is that given yung global developments pagdating sa sabi natin yung Agriculture 4.0, nakita natin kung ano yung mga capabilities naman ng ating mga local stakeholders, especially yung mga small farmers. And that would basically clearly emphasize na dapat kailangan talaga mayroong mag-mediate. There should be an intermediary. We'll try to link kung ano man ang nangyayari dito sa global or national to the local part, especially ng ating mga farmers. And that's where hindi lamang yung PAPES concept but kundi yung engagement ng ating pluralistic extension systems, yung mga private sector, including yung mga global enterprises, can be able to help para dito. And of course, there are a lot of models that we can work on. If you will remember, actually, maganda na yung experience ng Pilipinas eh. It's just a matter of continuing it or reintegrating other features. Remember during the BIX days, there are a lot of things that have been done before. And even when the Director Rex of ATI during the time of secretaryship, yung first engagement of Dr. Dar sa Department of Agriculture, you have already instituted a lot of changes as part of EO 126 dun sa Agricultural Training Institute as a director. Unfortunately, after you develop yung mga guidelines doon, na as far as engaging yung mga private sector and then mga providers sa extension system, parang hindi ito nagkaroon ng hindi na implement, hindi ito na hindi nagawa. And I hope with PAPES, things like this can be reintroduced and I would say invigorated para ma-promote yung partnership na sinasabi natin. And of course, what I'm worried about is yung absorptive capacity ng ating local government with respect to Executive Order 1, yung E123, yung samantala ruling.
138.
So, yung absorptive capacity ng ating local mga LGUs, provincial up to the municipal level, as far as yung local agriculture development planning, agriculture and fisheries development planning. Kasi dapat it's all, sabi natin, changing mindset because even before, yung formulation of comprehensive land use plan are being formulated on what do you call that? Just to comply. And so that ano yung local investment plan, and so on. But not really seriously implementing it. So, yung mga budget restrictions, and so on. I'm quite, nakita ko doon sa bandang huli ng inyong presentations that kailangan talaga ng suporta ng 4th and 6th class municipalities because even though there are an increase in IRA, pero ito yung mga municipalities na maliit ang IRA. But those are the municipalities that are very, agriculture-based talaga yung municipalities na to. And I think isa yan sa dapat nating advocate na magkaroon ng suporta for these lower class municipalities to be able to cope up with, sabi ko nga, una yung absorbed capacity, and ikalawa yung budgetary allotment for them to be able to cope up dun sa requirement natin for agricultural development. The next one is yung the professionalization of the agriculture and fishery development advocacy bureaucracy. When I say professionalization, it's not just passing yung professional exam. Talagang may yung capabilities and all those things ay talagang medyo professionalized and will not be subjected to political things pagdating sa appointment ng municipal agriculturist, appointment ng provincial agriculturist, and so on. Kasi parang seso ba, sir, ng extension systems na pag sinabi mong agricultural development specialist, dala talaga niya yung para siyang seso pagdating sa extension. Something like that. So, kailangan natin yung una, para mapataas yung moral ng ating extension system. And ikalawa, para medyo sila, may caution doon sa things that they need to do. And ayun, kaya doon pumapasok yung sinasabi natin na kailangan talaga yung institutional strengthening as a part ng ating scaling up concept, no? And siguro second to the last is yung enterprise development kasi most of our extension activities masyadong nakafocus dun sa sa mga capacity building na hindi nata-translate into a particular enterprise. An enterprise ay nakafocus lamang especially sa production enterprise but not on the whole value chain. What I'm saying is that if you can produce so much banana, let's say sabab banana, and then how can you transform it into something that are more high valued rather than just banana cue, no? Parang ganon. So pwede ba natin siyang gawing banana starch or banana flour or whatever so that tuloy-tuloy yung enterprise development sa value chain. Hanggang sa dumating siya doon sa sa consumer, sa food market. No, how are we going to put them together? Ngayon, you could just imagine na ang eggplant will cost about 120 pesos per kilo. Ang sitaw will mga 80 pesos per kilo. And kamatis is already 90 pesos per kilo. Yung mga ganyan. Well, in fact, we already have the technology actually. Doon sa mga off-season production of these commodities. So what I'm saying is that we have to take a look dun sa investment planning natin from input provision hanggang makarating dun sa food distribution. And siguro lastly, ito yung gusto ko ring as far as sa amin, sa ASI, at sa UP Los Baños. Sa ASI kasi meron kaming isang program, ang tawag namin UNLAD Saka. Ibig sabihin, development for kabuhayan, kabataan, kabukiran, and so on, UNLAD Saka. Pero yung UNLAD, we would like to translate it to something more fitting sa development ngayon. So we coined the word na yung UNLAD is something that Unified National Local Action for Development. So it becomes UNLAD Saka. So we have tried it in several areas already before, but now I think we have to say, you're saying it, to scale deep unlad saka to interlink with what we're doing at PAPES, for example. And ma-materialize din yung research support para sa PAPES na pinag-uusapan natin noon, Andrew, at saka ng camp, that UPLB and the SCUs will also be involved dun sa PAPES as a part of the research arm. Makita natin hindi lamang yung generation of technology, but how things are going on with PAPES, especially dun sa pag-implement niya, yung mga basic organizational thing, institutional matters, and project documentation, yung process documentation, and so on. So that, as you have said in your last statement, we will not be repeating things all over again, but rather repeating is different from duplicating and replicating. And with those lessons that we will gain, we have basis for replicating what PAPIS can do as far as the extension systems in the Philippines. So yun po siguro muna, and then I will give the floor back to the member of the panel. Dr. Davidi.
Oh, great. Maganda.
Sir,
Maganda. Very nice dream. Everything is in there. All the pipelines for progressive agriculture, nandiyan na lahat eh. And yung fragmented extension program natin, that's the main problem we have. And our farmer scientist training program is evolved ito. Nag-evolve ito sa ating previous countryside action program. As you remember it, they used to give us 10 million a year. 1970s, 80s, up to 90s, 10 million. And we have projects in Bundok Peninsula, project in Cebu, which is scattered. Then the concept of piloting. After 3 years, balik tayo sa atin. Iniwan natin doon sa local government. Ang local government, very unstable. Walang pondo yan. So, sabihin nila, sa inyo yan, dalhin nyo sa inyo. So, great failure. Sayang yung 10 million a year, no? So, na-constitualize ko itong farmer scientist, was the director of NCPC, na Secretary Dominguez, give us 30 million. Then, Dr. Medina was my successor, and we developed this concept of farmer scientist. Can we make farmers, scientists, businessmen, politicians, and so on? Farmers should be the focus of our work. But how much we know about the farmers? Character, abilities to do it. So your program is focused more on organization, but we fail to get down to the farmers' level of their intelligence and their ambition and mission also. So in Eps.5, we already included some of your recommendation, yung rural development, business, and pero wala kayong formula to force the farmers to get rich. Paano natin pipilitin yayaman para wala na tayong problema masyado? They will be supporting the government. And first, we have to cultivate the minds of the farmers, not the soil. Mahirap pararuhin ulo ng tao kaysa lupa eh. So, the farmer scientists, we started with yung phase 1, that is to become a scientist, with value formation. We have to change the character of the farmers. Value formation, nandoon yung ating for love of God, country, and people. Very essential yan doon. Then we have technical support. We conduct experiments as scientists, as we define it. And then they will graduate as graduate of UP Los Baños College of Agriculture. Phase 1, as scientists, then phase 2, sa farmers field na nila application of the technology they discovered. They receive certificate of achievements, then to go on to phase 3, farmer teaching a farmer. That makes the farmers an extension worker. And they have a lot of experience. And that is what we are doing now. Farmers, scientists, technician, businessman, and so on. Now, how this him into why it is in Cebu, in Kulawin. Now, this happens in 1994 when I received 500,000 pesos as outstanding agricultural scientist from DA. Then Secretary Sebastian told me that I have to prepare a proposal. And I proposed to have this in Cebu, in my barangay. Cebu that time was the poorest province. Poorest in PA, 5th class, 6th class. Then when I proposed that farmer scientist to be in Kulawin, my barangay, Secretary Sebastian said, Dr. Davide, Cebu is not agricultural. You better go to Bohol. Ako, Mr. Secretary, I will return that 500,000 pesos because I want Cebu to improve. So, say, oh, okay, we'll make Cebu a satellite DE. Okay. Then Arboleda approached me to Davide. I want you to go to Cebu to be the director or program leader of our countryside action program with Eps.5. Sabi ko, then, you're giving me the best assignment in my life. Why? You're sending me home to do what can I do now? So we started there. Many of us are going to it. We have the DE, we have the DOST, local government, and so on. When I present the mayor, the Eps.5 program, he said, oh, Dr. Davide, I cannot deny you. You are already implementing my projects. So that's the one ng mga mayor, they are just waiting for us. So we started it with 34 farmers lang noon. And farmers noon sa amin, the status symbol ay baril. Talagang magulo ang ano. They are farmers during the day and PA sa gabi. So yan, we started the program with Dean Arboleda. We had the first graduation and 20 farmer, 20 professors natin dito sa UPLB. Napunta doon, kasama si Dean Arboleda. Si Rex, nakapunta yan, isang business. So this was the focus of our program. Now, it was successful, and then President Arroyo went there 2002. And he saw the program. Dr. Davide, I want this in Mindanao program. So we created the executive order 17, making Eps.5 a national program purpose to liberate poor farmers from the bondage of poverty and hunger. So we focus on the poor. Unless we help the poor, we always have trouble. Because a hungry man is an angry man. And anywhere you have problems with this. So our Eps.5 is a national program now. And I have only here, Eps.5 as executive order, the Center for Management and Operation is here in Daers in Institute of ASI, Agricultural Systems, with Dr. Villancio is our boss here. And we are very happy now. We are operating nationwide with 10 staff. One for Mindanao, Visayas, and so on. We have a good system. We have from national, ATI, down to regional, provincial, you have coordinators and municipal coordinators. Now, ang problema, this is inter-agencies in this executive order. Ang partner agencies, DA, DAR, DOST, LGUs, SUCs, NGC, and NGOs. APTv.6 seed company for the last 20 years have been supporting us with vegetable seeds and others. So it's a joint forces, allied forces. Ang problema, budget. They only give us 10 million, 10 million pesos. 2 million sa UPLB, sa bawat region, tag 500,000. That's why we can only pilot test 1 or 2 municipalities here and 2 or 3 barangays. This is barangay level. We go down to the farmer's farm. And after 2-3 years training, we will assess the performance of the farmers. So we have success stories because we expect that not all of them, of course, and not all flowers were produced fruit. So there are those successful farmers we have piled of that. So now, itong presentation ni Rex, maganda ito pipelines ito kung ma-implement natin. Ang problema natin yung politika. When it is in the province, like what we experience in Cebu, when my nephew, Governor John Davide, gave us full support, ako ang consultant, 1 peso a year, and he gave 1 million per municipalities with 8 farmers as technicians to continue the program province-wide. So all municipalities are covered with the APTv. The farmers can produce up to 8 tons per hectare. But APTv is not lang mais, it's a corn base. Mais, vegetables, tapos joint forces with animal production, crops, goats, and so on. Poultry is one of these, ornamental, so on. So farming is business. Now, if you go there without this aim na yayaman ng farmers, we'll always have this problem of APTv. Cebu now is the richest province, from poorest richest province with 32 billion assets niya. Wala na ang infantry battalion, nasa Bacolod na. Now, we have here in Bicol, Bundok Peninsula, that's critical area. But all the municipalities in Bundok Peninsula is covered with APTv. Lahat sila mga farmers, very peaceful. What they need now are imports. They need seeds, corn seed, padala namin. They need cuttings of sweet potato. Kasi pag bagyo, dapa ang mais, ang kamote nakadapa na. And the price of kamote is much higher, 60 pesos per kilo. Ang ILBC namin ito, 3 days, nandoon na sa Cebu, nandoon na sa Agro. We have been botanists all over the country. Now, on Thursday, Friday, we have launching a farmer scientist in Tangtangan, South Cotabato. Pagka Friday, we have launching in Carmen, North Cotabato. So we are there, almost all provinces. But our problem is the budget. 10 million, how can you move forward? No? Now, I am not receiving anything. My allowance is only 20,000 as emeritus professor. So this is a work of a mission. We have to have a missionary work. Alayo, yung mga aitas, mga mangyans, nasa bukid yan. So, we have to reach them. Our last frontier of production na doon sa bundok. So we have trained the mangyans and the aitas, the IPs, to be farmers and productive and be the extension worker with them. So most of this, let's do it. How can we do it? How much budget we need? If we rely on provincial politics, election next year, then there will be changes. But if it's executive order, mga farmers natin will go on with their association, co-op. Magaling ang cooperatives nila, united, peaceful, and some of them are mayors. Some of them are barangay officials, so governance has improved. So, Rex, very nice ito, maganda ito. Threshold natin, maraming points dito na dapat pag-aralan natin. At kung pwede sama tayo.
Thank you po, Dr. Davide. And Sir Rex, parang lumalabas na kailangan din natin yung tinatawag nating local champion. Di ba? Kung wala si Rex Navarro at yung camp, yung PAPES kaya magpa-progress. Kung wala si Dr. Romulo Davide, yung kayang Eps.5 umangat, yung kayang probinsya ng Cebu na kumbinse. So yung sinatawag kong Davide factor di ba? Na minsan kailangan sa bawat probinsya, bawat munisipyo, may mga ganon na bagay. Siguro, Andrew, proceed dun sa iyong parte, Andrew, at
Factor of leadership. That's why in APTv, we put there strengthen the leadership of the community. You have a mayor who is strong. Yung mayor sa San Francisco, very strong ang leadership. Yung the whole lake, yung ginawa niya irrigation system. So critical dito is the leadership. We have to elect a good leader. That's why in APTv we include leadership. Kasi ano magawa niyang mga yan kung walang magandang mag-lead. So that creates good leaders, good barangay official. The mayor of Corelia, Cebu, Bohol, is APTv. Graduate natin ng leadership.
Tama po yun. Kasi pag nagbago ng mayor, nagbago na rin yung direksyon Okay, Andrew, can you say something? Para
Thank you
para
very
sa
much,
panel.
sir. Bigat tayo, sir. Rex. Well, actually, I had a very good experience working with Sir Rex Navarro. He was my superior when he was director of the Agricultural Training Institute. And later on, we became partners in a training to capacitate the Department of Agriculture, the state universities and colleges, and the local government units across the country. He's a very inspiring person. Leadership nga, sabi ni Sir Davide. A very inspiring person to work with. His positivity and forward-looking style is very contagious. One thing that I learned from Sir Rex is his attitude of quick response. Siya po yung taong daig ang maagap sa maaga. Mabilis siyang mag-produce ng documents, concept papers, policy papers, na siya mismo yung sumusulat. In fact, nakita natin siya mismo yung nag-initiate ng pag-draft nitong concept paper ng tinawag pa namin noon na Collaborative Provincial Agriculture and Fisheries Extension System, si PAFES, isang innovative extension system to address the weakness of the devolved extension system in the country. So with great minds from camp, it was improved. And then it was adopted by ETI and then the Department of Agriculture. And now it's being piloted in many parts of the country. What I have seen in Sir Rex is his extraordinary passion for the things that he loves doing. And so now I would like to share my humble thoughts to reinforce what has been said. Marami na pong nasabi. Gusto ko lang pong i-reinforce yung, in addition to passion, the role of power and the means to execute what power means. Yung tinatawag natin na mga innovations or ability to solve problems. Ito po yung mga tatlong important elements of a successful extension service. Let me start with power. We have heard of the word, the saying that with great power comes great responsibility. However, we know of people who have great power but don't have the means to solve problems of society. So yung power po ay hindi sufficient to solve problems. Power is not enough. Conversely, there are people who have the means. They are smart people, they're intelligent, but we could not feel these people. They don't have impact to the society at all. So intellect is not enough. You may know of the solution to a social problem, but don't have the power or the means. Hindi po sapat yon. Kailangan magkasama po the power and the means to solve problems. But there is something that is very important we should not miss. And I think that is the point of why we have this webinar. Yun pong grit and passion. Passion to me is just like, it is the driving force to act. It is the joy that stems from the heart, which radiates through action. It's just like the energy that keeps you going. If you have this passion, the easier for you to do things, and you will likely succeed. and with great passion, you will always want to do your best and you will accomplish a lot. Now, in our extension work, we have been talking about creating impact to our clients. It is important that there is a combination of the three elements of successful extension service. First, our extensionists need power or support of those in power. This can be in the form of sufficient budget support for extension programs and projects and the provision of other resources to do extension work. Then they must have the means. Referring here to the technological innovations na binanggit kanina ni Sir Rex to solve farm issues or issues affecting farm productivity and economic well-being of our farmers. So they must be strongly connected to the sources of knowledge and wisdom. Yun po yung role natin in the academe, particularly sa state universities, at ang role ng UPLB, including the research institutions. So with both power and the means to deliver extension services, our extensionists are poised to create impact. But without passion, the desired impact may not be achieved or may take long to be achieved. And the results of extension services may not be of good quality. So dapat pasulungin po natin yung empowerment of our extensionists, equip them with technological innovations, and build in them the passion of extension service. This, my friends, I believe that these are the key to success in extension services as individuals and as also as institutions. Dr. Navarro spoke of the PAFES as an institutional innovation of the world agricultural extension system. This new model of extension system offers an improved system of extension service, which envisions of extensionists who are empowered, innovative, and have the passion to deliver extension services. With this characteristic of an extension system, we look forward to the best outcome and the real impact of these innovations or interventions to the people we serve, the farming and the fishing communities. With this, maraming salamat po, Sir Rex, for sharing with us your passion of the PAFES.
Okay, so maraming salamat po. Sir Rex, I know yung grit and passion natin sa extension. I know Sir Rex even during college days. I know him during the 1970s, especially sa student conference when he became a representative in that particular thing. And I know yung grit and passion niya for things, sa perspective and all these things. Hanggang ngayon, dala-dala pa natin yung yung spirit na yon, and then kung ano yung desire natin to do things, to change things, of course, for the better. So for this point, siguro, we would like to have the last say from Sir Rex with respect to this activity. Sir Rex.
Thank you, Hill. In fact, thank you, College of Agriculture. I didn't realize that the Agricultural Systems Institute na pala ang tawag sa inyo is the lead unit here in this initiative. This is really a good initiative. In fact, we should perhaps sustain this. If I may suggest, why don't we invite farmers and fisher folk to express, their experiences in this forum para talagang makita natin, I'm always very particular about what's happening on the ground. And in fact, sinasabi natin sila ang last mile, but to me, they are the first mile, no? So siguro Hill at saka din baka pwede nating last na yata ito, but baka pwede nating imbita yung mga farmers, si Dr. David na milyonaryo na. Dr. David in fact yun ang ating dream, no? Yun ang ating passion na Hill, ako, Andro, prosperous farmers. Kasi nakikita nyo lagi yung blurb ng DA, masaganang ani, mataas na kita. Siguro yung masaganang ani nandiyan na, pero yung kita talagang malaki paling talents. And yes, yung experiences ng ating farmer scientist. Dr. David, I was part of the core group of Dr. Medina.
For calderetic kadapans. For calderetic.
Come again. Yeah, may nagsalita. Anyway, so sir, I really believe that will be in fact a very important element in PAFES. We really have to harness farmers because they are the best trainers. That is why we are harnessing farmers organizations. but we really have to empower them more. We have to organize them to become business people. Kasi yun na nga, yun yung ating business as usual, extension, technology transfer. Hindi na po pwede yun. We have seen that. And wala, ganun pa rin. No? No matter how much technology, kahit bombahin natin sila, wala naman silang capability, to do business. I think that's now the new agenda of extension. And with the new tools that we have, and yes, tama si Hill, I overlooked that institutional strengthening is a very important component. The professionalization of the extension service is really of prime importance. Para they will not really be, in the mercy of political whims, enterprises. But I think the provincial agriculturists are professional. But punta tayo dun sa mga munisipyo. And in fact, maganda yung analysis ng DA. How I wish we could have more time. But I think, Andrew, we really have to have a very good capability building, capacity strengthening plan. Hindi lang yung training ng extension workers to really professionalize the extension service. I really fully believe in that because that is the only way we'll really be able to strengthen extension as an institution. I still believe, of course, there are many digital tools available, radio and all. Must take note when you say ICT, hindi lang yung computer. But the human face to me is the most important. Kailangan pa rin natin yung human face sa baryo. And I think that's the farmer scientist that is being implemented by Dr. David. Nobody can substitute for a human face. All these technologies that we're saying should really support that human face. But that human face should be really a professional, proud of their profession, and not on the whims and caprices of powers that be. Yun talagang, kumbaga, taas ang noo. And so, yun ang ating bagong passion. So again, the College of Agriculture, the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and England, I believe we are still, although there are already strong institutions aside from us, SUCs, but I believe that we can still assert our leadership in really path-breaking this initiative. So, Hill, Dr. Rabide, and Andrew, and Dean, let's establish PAFES in Laguna. We hook up with Shelito Habito. He's our prime mover of this Laguna transformation movement, so that we can really institutionalize our partnership with the provincial government. At saka, Sir, Dr. Davide, dapat meron tayong farmer scientist dito sa Laguna. And going back to my days at the university, we had a very good program here on lake environment social mobilization. Alam niyo yung lawang ng Laguna is a very big resource, and that is also connected to the mountain. And the last frontiers of agriculture here, Santa Maria, Siniloan, wag natin pababayaan yung mga yan, no matter, nag-i-industrialize na yung first district. Pero I think Laguna should really be, let's not forget that Laguna is still very much agricultural. So I congratulate College of Agriculture, the University of the Philippines, our co-panelists. Ang aking laging sinasabing panghuli ay, let's just do it. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, maraming
Thank you
salamat.
very much.
Bali, actually, may plan na rin kami ngayong September 8. Meron tayong webinar inviting ko yung 3 municipal agriculturist ng Pampanga, Sultan Kudarat at saka Iloilo in order for them to present kung how are they coping up given itong pandemic situation. So ang next round siguro yung suggestion niyo na yung pong ating FSTP farmers will be also there. Okay. Back to you, Ella, for the next part of the program.
Very well said from our featured front runner. And thank you very much again to our panelists, Dr. Virgilio Villancia, Dr. Romulo Davide, and Dr. Andrew Yasmin. And most especially to our featured agriculture front runner for this morning. Thank you very much to Dr. Rex Navarro for a very awesome job in telling us all about grit and passion. Now, to show our appreciation, of course, the College of Agriculture and Food Science, University of the Philippines, Los Baños College, Laguna, Philippines, present this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Rex L. Navarro for serving as a resource person on the topic Grit and Passion in Extension Service during the APTv.6 Talk version 6, Viewpoints of the Forerunners, Future of Agriculture and Food Systems under the webinar program, Rebooting Agriculture in the New Normal, held on August 24, 2021 via Zoom. Given this 24th day of August 2021 at the College of Agriculture and Food Science, University of the Philippines, Los Baños College, Laguna, Philippines. Signed by the head of the CAPS Webinar Committee, Dr. Ponte C. Santa Cruz, and the Dean of the College of Agriculture, Elpidio M. Agbisit Jr. So for now, we have a virtual certificate for you, Dr. Navarro. Again, thank you very much for imparting your knowledge all about grit and passion in extension service. Also, we would like to show our appreciation to our panelists for serving as panelists on the topic grit and passion during the APTv.6 version 6.0. To Dr. Virgilio T. Vilancho, Dr. Romulo G. Davide, and to Dr. Andrew D. Gasman. So again, thank you very much to our panelists, and again to our speaker, Dr. Rex Navarro. So just a couple of announcements before we wrap up our finale episode. Just like what was mentioned kanina by Dr. Rex Navarro, we actually have a live webinar series, ASI, and also as mentioned by Dr. Gil Vilancho, we are inviting you to the third episode of Durongawan, Pagtingin sa mga nagbabagong pamayanan. This will be on September 8, 2021, live via Zoom at 9 a.m., featuring three municipal agriculturists from all over Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao to talk about challenges of municipal agriculturists in the implementation of agriculture programs and projects in the time of COVID-19. So if you're interested, you may register through the link on the screen, and our technical staff will also link it to ating Zoom chat box. And also, if you're interested, especially to our students and professors, about writing a concept note about basics and tips on online. This is an online writing workshop on thesis grant for basic, applied, and interdisciplinary aspects of organic agriculture. This will be on September 1 and 9, hosted by the Interdisciplinary Study Center for Organic Agriculture in collaboration with the Organic Agriculture Program under the Agricultural Assistance Institute and the ASI webinar team. So again, if you're interested, you may register through this link, and we will also be pasting it on the chat box for easier access. And now, also to tell us more about the BS Agriculture major in Agricultural Extension and MS in Rural Sociology programs, please welcome the Division Head of the Agricultural Extension and Rural Studies, Dr. Rodmir Datoon. Good morning, Dr. Rodmir.
Good morning to everybody. So before we end, we'd just like to invite you or inform you about our undergraduate and graduate programs in the Agricultural Systems Institute. So for those of you who have students, relatives, friends, and families who are looking for undergraduate courses, we would like to promote to you our BS in Agriculture major in Agriculture Extension program that's being offered by the College of Agriculture and Food Sciences. So Ella will upload this brochure in the chat box so you can download it and please disseminate to your personal networks. And for those of you who are looking for a graduate program in rural development or rural studies, we have a MS Rural Sociology program, the only MS Rural Sociology program available or being offered in Asia. This is also being offered in the College of Agriculture and Food Sciences, in the Agricultural Systems Institute, the UPLB Graduate School. The brochure will also be uploaded in the chat box, so you can also download it and learn more about it. And please disseminate this to your personal and professional network. So that's it for us, and I thank you again for attending this webinar. Ella, back to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rodmir. And that's it for our announcements. We have a very jam-packed finale episode for the season 6 of AgriPeace Talk. And what better way to wrap everything up with a few closing messages from the Associate Dean for Research and Extension of the College of Agriculture and Food Science. Let us all welcome Dr. Barbara L. Kawili. Good morning, Doc Bambi.
Hello, Ella.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. So, on behalf of the College of Agriculture and Food Science, I wish to thank all the participants of today's last episode for AgriPeace Talk 6.0, Viewpoints of the Forerunners, Future of Agriculture and Food Systems. So we have featured 5 episodes with renowned local speakers that will surely guide us on crafting the UPLB framework on the futures of food security in the Philippines. So this initiative will be spearheaded by the UPLB Futures Thinking Program to further strengthen the efforts of the university to address poverty and hunger through sustainable and responsible food consumption and production. So the first episode was on the mind and science of innovations, wherein Secretary Dar emphasized the role of higher education institutions in producing human resources that are vital in the improvement and development of modernization of Philippine agriculture. On the other hand, the second speaker, Dr. Rasco, gave an in-depth presentation of traditional food and shared the science behind traditional food culture. This was followed by transformational leadership for food security, in which Dr. Javier highlighted through thought leadership for food security and governance. He discussed why is there a need to study thought leadership and the roles of local government units in food security. In the third episode, price tags of responsible food production and consumption, the Director Natural of MEDA explained how agriculture contributes to the economy and the development of the country, recognizing the role of women in agriculture and how women help in implementing agriculture programs was the fourth episode, where we also invited a speaker to talk to women empowerment in food and agriculture. And last but not the least, all this knowledge and innovations cannot be of use if not transferred to their respective stakeholders. Thus, the episode on greed and passion in extension service. So through you, we learned the features and formula of an effective extension services and programs. Indeed, our first and last episode are connected as we go back to new thinking toward a food secure future, and all the initiatives would be meaningless without extension. So thank you very much, Dr. Rex Navarro, for sharing your expertise on technology transfer. To all our speakers, we accept your challenges to improve the lives, not just of farmers who are nearby UPLP, as well as to contribute to a food secure, sustainable, resilient, and gender-sensitive agriculture in the country. As an entomologist, natuwa po ako sa success formula of pathways you presented. So, ang yamanak tunay po. As a generator of knowledge, we have ongoing initiatives with various private companies on collaborations to reach our farmers and to train them to sustainably understand and practice our technologies and innovations. So we are exploring multimedia to effectively communicate our programs, in which TikTok will be part soon. Thanks, Dr. Davide, for gracing this episode, and maybe we will have a radio version of your farmer scientist training program. So also, a heartfelt thanks to CAPS webinar committee headed by Dr. Pontes Santa Cruz, to all CAPS unit directors, especially Agricultural System Institute, our host unit for today, and the members of the UPLB Ad hoc Committee on Futures Thinking Program for their unwavering support. So maraming pong salamat ulit. Together, let us achieve a food secure future. Hiraya Manawari. Back to you, Ella.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Doc Bambi, for not only wrapping up this episode, but also the whole season 6 of AgriPeace Talk version 6.0. So thank you very much again, Doc Bambi, and to our participants who stayed with us simula kaninang 9 a.m. You may access the evaluation form through this link, which will be also pasted sa ating mga comment section. If you're live via Zoom, makita niyo po sa chat box. Or if you're live via YouTube and Facebook, our staff will be commenting in the comment section. Or if you want easier access, you may scan the QR code shown on the screen to access your evaluation form. And that is it for AgriPeace Talk version 6.0. And if you want to stay tuned for more future events from the College of Agriculture and Food Science, you may want to hit that like button or follow the CAF page sa ating Facebook. That's UPLB College of Agriculture and Food Science for more information about future events and webinars just like AgriPeace Talk. On behalf of the whole CAF Extension Committee, ASI and CAF's Webinar Committee, again, thank you very much to all our guest speaker, our panelists, and everyone in charge. Thank you very much, and especially to you, our participants who are also very always follow ang lahat ng episodes ng Aggie Peace Talk. So thank you very much. Stay tuned for more. Good morning, everyone, and happy lunch to everyone. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Ella.
Thank you po.
A 112 years ago, the UP Board of Regents had a vision to develop their true firstborn college that will spearhead national development through agriculture. At the foot of Mount Makiling, Edwin B. Copeland, together with 7 faculty and 12 students, embarked on the journey to create the UP College of Agriculture, or UPCA. Through its 112 years of existence, the college has produced over 1,000 technologies and variety of plants and animals, 9 national scientists, over 30 outstanding young scientists, and more than 18,000 graduates contributing to agricultural development. UPCA, now College of Agriculture and Food Science, or CAFS, has been continuously contributing to nation building through its instruction, research, and extension function. A mere 10 years after establishment, the college was able to start breeding works with the production of sugarcane varieties with high productivity and resistance to Fiji and mosaic disease. In the 1920s, the importance of agriculture was intensified and UPCA was recognized as neighboring countries began sending their students to Los Baños because of the high quality of education. In the 1930s, breeds with superior characteristics such as the Burkhala pig, Los Baños Cantonese chicken, and Philippine cattle were developed. The 1960s was a fruitful decade for research. Makapuno, a coconut cultivar often made into a dessert, was pioneered and perfected. Meanwhile, the Dairy Training and Research Institute was the first in the country to freeze buffalo semen, paving the way for artificial insemination of local carabaos. Along with the establishment of UPLB in the 70s, the college received the prestigious Ramon Magsaysay Award for International Understanding, Asia's counterpart for the Nobel Peace Prize. In the same decade, the C4 plants were developed. The soil test kits were produced in support of the Masagana 99 program, and the mango induction technique was introduced. Continuing the production of quality research outputs in the 1980s, techniques to minimize post-harvest losses, the accelerated fish sauce manufacturing process, and the rapid test kit for the detection of pesticide residue on vegetables were developed. The 1990s saw many new varieties across species or crop types, including Sinta papaya, the first Philippine-bred hybrid, UPLB Gold, a durian variety, and Doña Amelita, a musaenda named after the wife of former President Fidel Ramos. The award-winning National Corn-Based Farmer Scientist RDE Training Program, or FSTP, was also established around this time and still remains as one of the university's primary extension programs. In the field of instruction, the book titled Integrating Sustainable Agriculture in the BSA Curriculum, the UPLB College of Agriculture Experience, was published in 1999. At present, the College of Agriculture and Food Science, or CAFS, continues to be the premier institution of higher learning in agriculture and food science, and remains committed to nation building through its instruction, research, and extension programs. In order to produce the best graduates, all of our courses are outcomes-based education, and continuous improvement of the curriculum is being practiced to meet the challenges of the 21st century. As testament of excellence, CAPS is constantly recognized by different organizations. In research, we continue to implement relevant studies with focus on the 12 priority commodities to address food security. Moreover, technologies are constantly developed to aid in responsible food production. Supplementing these are extension activities to disseminate the knowledge generated to improve food productivity and livelihood of the people. We believe that present technologies will future-proof our food systems. Some of our notable developments are IDTech, Coraginam, Plant Health and Pest Clinic, Pest Management Tools and Techniques, Smarter Pest Identification Technology or SpeedTech, Snap Hydroponics, Drone Technology, Rapid Immunofilter Assay for Virus Indexing, Nanofertilizers Fertigrow, Hormogrow, Nanobiosensors, Biochar. We at the College of Agriculture and Food Science will continue to promote and nurture a culture with innovative yet conscientious minds and cutting-edge skills to lead and serve the country and the region. We are one college with one goal towards sustainable food systems.